and welcome to Visions in the Making, where we reveal the story behind the glory. I am your host, Crystal Harkless, and I just want to thank you for joining me for the first episode of the podcast. I'm especially excited today because this has been a long time coming. Some of you know that I actually started this back in 2009, and it just sort of died. And so now with everything going on, I just had plenty of time to just really think, and God dropped this on me again. And he said, remember that vision that I gave you. And so this is the rebirth of that vision. So I want to thank you for giving me the opportunity to speak into your lives. I know that this is going to be a powerful show. I know that this will be a powerful journey. It's my hope that as I bring people to you, they will be people that will equip you. They will be people that will inspire you. They will be people that will encourage you. And I hope that they will ignite that fire that is within you that may have died, as well as what happened to me, and push you into your purpose. And so the person that I'm bringing on today, my guest, Shelley Willingham, let me tell you guys, I met her when I was at an event, and I almost started not to go. And so it just so happened that I won a free month of coaching with this lady. And when I tell you that was such a divine setup, it was such a divine setup. I didn't know that I needed what she had. And I believe that she has not only a powerful story, but she has tools to equip you with anything that you need to just really help you dive into that thing that you may have been avoiding, that thing that God maybe has been tapping you on the shoulder and saying, hey, I want you to do this. I want you to get this started. So I hope that she does for you today what she did for me throughout that month that we were together. But before I bring her on, I do want to read her bio because she is just, I don't want to take anything away from what she is doing. So Shelley Willingham, she is the founder and CEO of Vision and Passion International, LLC. So that alone should let you know why she needed to be my first guest. That Vision and Passion International. So within the VPI portfolio are projects that simply set Shelley's soul on fire. Hallelujah. Within the VPI portfolio are Douglas Alexandra, a digital marketing and brand activation firm and founder of Pretty and Powerful, a movement to empower women. That's how she's rolling these days. Shelley is a graduate of the University of North Carolina at Chapel Hill and earned her master's degree at Northeastern University. She started her corporate sales and marketing career at Pitney Bowes, I hope I said that right, before starting her own marketing and sales consulting firm, Creative Strategies Unlimited Incorporated, based in Raleigh, North Carolina in 2000. In addition to her entrepreneurial pursuits, she served as the managing director in Charlotte, North Carolina for eWomen Network, a resource for connecting women-owned businesses worldwide. She also developed a seminar for Duke University's nonprofit management certificate program entitled Purpose-Driven Marketing for the Nonprofit. And look, guys, I can go on and on. Look, this bio is phenomenal. She is just a woman of great character and just a very inspiring person. So I just want to introduce to you and also, I guess, reintroduce to some Shelley Willingham. So Shelley, if you could just come on the screen, start your video. Awesome. Hi.
Hey, Crystal.
So we do not have an audience, so I have to clap for you myself.
That is fine. That is fine. And let me clap for you and congratulate you on re-energizing your dream and your first podcast with your new vision. So I'm very excited for you and great job.
Thank you, thank you, thank you. So I want to start off because I told everyone that you have a powerful story. And I had an opportunity to listen to it when we were both at the event that Rhonda did. Shout out to Rhonda. I wish I could remember her business name right now. But she had a screen showing of a powerful film, which I do believe is on Netflix right now, about women entrepreneurs. And so you shared a story about how you started, and I really want you to share that with everyone because it really inspired me. Just how you went through it and how you came out on the other side. So I'm just going to turn it over to you and let you talk.
Okay, great. Well, first of all, the shout out goes to Rhonda Hicks, right? She
Yes.
did a screening of what is it? She Means Business, I think was the.
She did that.
She did that. That's right.
That's
she did.
What it was.
But yeah, Rhonda Hicks deserves all the credit.
Yes.
But yeah, so my story is a little, I don't know. It goes in a bunch of different directions, but basically, you mentioned in my bio that I'd worked for a company, Pitney Bowes, and that's where I started in corporate with a company called Pitney Bowes, and then I started my own business. And the first business I started was Creative Strategies Unlimited, and that was a sales and marketing consulting group, like you mentioned. And then from that role, I realized that at that time, it was the early 2000s, and there were a lot of Hispanic people in North Carolina area. And I was working with a client at the time. We were trying to figure out the best way to reach that market, and there were no resources for me. So through the research that I did, I created an organization, a consultancy really, an organization that helped corporate America connect more with multicultural audiences, and not coming from the normal, kumbaya diversity, we are the world, because corporate America cares about money. So exactly. I basically angled my business from how they are missing out on the increasing purchasing power of diverse segments. So not only ethnic minorities, but women, people with disabilities, all different groups where corporations were using stereotypes or maybe being offensive in marketing to these groups, or not marketing to them at all because they didn't feel like there was any type of business there. Mm-hmm. So I created that business. And so from that business, I actually got that's how I got featured in Fortune magazine. Yes. And so things were going fantastic, Crystal. I was living the dream. I had a full staff, living in my dream house, dream vacations. Life was fantastic. And then in 2007, when the market kind of turned, my business shifted. Mm-hmm. So Merrill Lynch at the time was my largest client. And the first nugget I'll give you is never let a business or one client take up a large majority of your business. So they made up about 75% of my business. So when Merrill Lynch got bought by Bank of America, what we were doing together was no longer a priority. And so I hung on for as long as I could. I paid my employees out of my savings. I cashed out my retirement because they had made a decision to come and want to work for me. They trusted me, right? Mm-hmm. So I felt like I owed them that. So when all the money was gone, and I mean all the money was gone, not rich people broke, down to my last $500,000, I'm down to my last nothing, trying to figure out how I'm going to feed my kids. Right. And so I'm riding around in this Mercedes, put it in my dream house's garage where I hadn't paid a mortgage on in almost a year, trying to keep the car from the repo man, having to drive the car to social services to get food stamps. And I remember parking in the very back of the parking lot because I didn't want anybody to think, oh, who is she driving up here in this Mercedes? She doesn't need it. Yeah, I did need it because I didn't have anything. Right. And going through that process it kind of broke me, not in a bad way, but broke me in a way that made me be forced to really take a hard look at my life. Because first of all, I'm thinking, this isn't supposed to happen to me. I mean, I've got a college degree, I've got a master's. I mean, this is not happening to me. This is not my life. But it doesn't matter who you are and where you are. Life can always just happen, right? Yeah. And so I had to take a look at had to get really still and think about where I was and what I was doing. And during that time when I was building this business, I was chasing money. If I'm honest, I was chasing money. And I can remember, and I did a lot of traveling. So I remember on Sundays, I would get my suitcase out, and my son at the time was like 3 or 4, and he would stand in the door and just cry because I'd get my suitcase out and be gone from Monday to Friday most weeks. And he didn't have the words to say, but I knew that whatever I did next, I couldn't do that anymore. So it had to be something, I had to really shift my priorities because my values were becoming more important to me than chasing money. And so I needed to make sure I was taking care of my family. I needed to make sure that I wasn't chasing the money. And what I found from this whole experience is when you stop chasing money and pursue your dreams, money will find you. It'll find you. You don't have to chase it. So I remember I would sit on my deck in my house, my beautiful custom built house that got repossessed, that got foreclosed on. But I would sit on the deck, and when things would get so dark for me, Crystal, and they would, because I'm just waiting, right? I'm waiting on the sheriff to come put me out. I had the IRS and the North Carolina Department of Revenue calling me because I hadn't paid taxes, and they were, talk about ruthless. Those are some ruthless bill collectors. We're going to come to your house. We're going to take all your furniture out. We're going to sell it. We know you've got money. They take pictures of my, so they're thinking, all that glitters is not gold. So, you're thinking about all these things that you think make you look successful. Yeah, they're nice, but they don't make you who you are. And you don't know how people are living sometimes in certain situations. But anyway, I digress. So I remember I would sit on my deck when things got really, really bad, and I would just pray. And when it would get to a point sometimes, Crystal, when I felt like I really couldn't take it anymore, like this was it. And a butterfly would always land where I was sitting. And this happened all the time. I can remember it being cold outside and driving in my car, getting that feeling again, and a butterfly would fly across my path. And so my logo now, if you see my logo, there's a butterfly on my logo because that represents so many things for me. It represents God for me. It's like every time I was feeling in that place alone, this butterfly would show up and let me know. For me, that was my sign from God. And I knew that he was right there with me and everything was going to be okay. And then when I think about the transformation of a butterfly, right? So all the things that a butterfly has to go through to be a butterfly, I just felt like that was the perfect representation of what my life had become. And so that is why I use that image on my logo. But what I found again was when I was chasing this money, it's like I wanted to have the biggest house, the most expensive house, the best car. And I'm trying to figure out, as I was doing this self-reflection, why is that? Why did that stuff matter? But if I'm honest, it did matter to me for some reason. And so when you talk about doing the work and really getting in there and figuring out who you are and what makes you tick, sometimes it's not pretty, the things you find out about yourself. And I didn't think I was that person at all. Yeah. But honestly, that's who I was at the time. And so coming through that, Crystal, what has it allowed me to do is so many different things. One is, like I said, I don't chase money. I turn down business all the time, because I've been in a situation where you're making a lot of money, you're doing all this stuff, but I wasn't necessarily happy. Right. I wasn't. I had all these things that looked like I was successful, but I wasn't happy. So I was keeping score with the dollars in the bank, and that's not how you do it. So I turn down business all the time. If there's not a fit for somebody that I talk to, if I'm not aligned with their values, if I'm not, if I'm just not feeling it, then I won't work with you. And being true to myself, I have not missed a beat. I don't want for anything. And again, you follow your heart and your passion and do what you know is right. Money will find you. I promise you. It will follow you. It will find you. And the fear that I had of just kind of the unknown. And one of the things that happened through this too was like a breaking of my ego. So here I am, Fortune magazine, doing this, doing that. Yeah, look at me, right? Okay. Well, everything's gone, and I have to get a job. So I've got to get a job. So I had to go and work at a place that I absolutely hated. And this is the first time, this place that I worked at, this is the first time that having a degree from UNC was a liability for me. So it was an HBCU that I was working at. And it was, you talk about a breaking of your ego, because I had to really release the idea of who I thought I was and who I thought I was supposed to be, and understand that, girl, you ain't all that. And you got to do what you have to do until you can do what you can do. And
Oh,
through
come
the
on.
midst of this,
Say that again.
I'm like, you got to do what you have to do until you can do what you can, what you want to do. And I remember when I went there, Crystal, I said, I'm going to be here from 12 to 18 months. That's it. At 18 months, I'm out of here. I'm doing my own thing again. I was there for 5 years. Every time I wanted to step out and do something, God was like, nope, not yet. And I couldn't understand, because I could always think of ideas, and I couldn't think of, it was gone. Not yet. It's not time. Okay, not yet. It's not time. And in 5 long years, I'm like, when, God, when?
Yeah.
And when it was the right time, it was the right time. And everything was laid out for me. Like I said, not wanting for anything, connecting with people that I shouldn't be connecting. I mean, just things just happening from me surrendering, releasing, and allowing God to do his work, and me not trying to move and do all these things that I know necessarily aren't the right move, but I'm thinking I gotta do this. No, I don't have to do anything. All I have to do is trust that he's got this. And when I get inspired, that's when I act, but not because I'm acting out of fear or scarcity. So I know I've done a lot of talking. You haven't said
Okay, so I didn't want to interrupt you, because you are dropping nuggets like and so I'm hoping that you guys are really taking notes, because she has really said a mouthful, especially for those that maybe have lost your job right now with COVID. I know there are plenty of people that have lost their jobs. They're having to restructure. They have to rebuild. And I'm going to use this word that I've seen a lot. They've had to pivot. And you sort of spoke to that a little bit.
Yeah.
But that whole humbling process, I think you really spoke to that as well, because sometimes we have in our mind, I don't want to go backwards because I'm afraid of what people may think of me. I'm afraid of how it may look like, oh, she failed. But this is just a part of my story. This is not my ending. This is just where I'm starting right now, so that I can continue to build to wherever else God is going to take me. So I got so much from that.
Good. Yeah. So to your point about people experiencing a lot of loss right now because of COVID-19, right now is such a great time. First of all, if you can, so don't feel pressured like, oh, I've got to come out of this quarantine and be, whatever. You don't have to be anything but healthy and whole. But take the time to think about those things you may have put on the back burner. So, what it's done, it forces us to look at the fragility of life. I mean, and then just the things we take for granted. At least it has for me.
Yeah.
And really, again, reinforcing those things, like what is important. Like you mentioned about caring about what people thought. So I had this lifestyle that looked great from the outside, I was in a bad marriage and wanted to stay there because what would it look like? I mean, nobody in my family gets divorced. That's not what we do. But all of those things that happened made me realize that all of those things who cares what people think? And half the time people aren't thinking about me anyway. They got their own stuff going on. They're not thinking about me, right? That's that ego telling us something different, but making the right decisions for yourself. So if there's something that you've always wanted to do or always wanted to try, if nothing else, I hope that this situation I'm not saying quit your job, but maybe start moving in the direction of getting to a place where you have a plan B, another stream of income or revenue that may or may not become your main thing. Maybe you don't want it to be, and that's okay. But just thinking about things in terms of, what might your next look like? Or even once you're retired, what are you going to do then? Is there something you've always wanted to do? I've always been a huge risk taker, Crystal, and not as much now because I got 2 little humans that depend on me for their every one need, but I was always taking risk. Always. And I always said to myself, what's the worst that can happen? I'll lose it all and build it again. I would say that all the time. There's power in the tongue, right? Because that's exactly what happened. But this whole thing for me forced me into this whole thing about coaching and mentoring. I never in a million lifetimes would have said, this is what I'd be doing and loving it. If somebody would have told me that, I'd been like, I don't think so. But every experience that I've had, God has helped me use to help others. I don't want people to have to go through what I went through. There are so many mistakes that I can tell you that I made in my business because my ego was in the way. I can tell you how to build something from nothing. I can tell you how to rebuild something after you've lost everything. So none of these things that I help these entrepreneurs with are things that I read about in a book or Googled or watched a webinar and now I'm an expert. This is what I've lived. This is what I've done. And so my advice to you, if you're looking to do something different, find somebody who's done what you want to do, and preferably somebody that's been through a little something, so they can help you deal with adversity, because you're going to encounter adversity. That's a part of life. Nothing is easy. And none of these changes and shifts you're going to make are going to feel good at all. It's going to feel like crap, period. Know that. But you got to know that as you're moving through this comfort zone stuff, once you get to the other side, it will honestly feel like you have lost 200 pounds. You're going to feel so free. You're going to feel so light, and I'm not saying everything is perfect now, because it's not, but my frame of reference is so different now. I am completely in the mode of allowing. I don't go into panic mode about anything, because I have got to believe that if I believe God is who he says he is and does what he says he will do, that it's going to happen. So when I'm in panic mode and in scarcity mindset, I'm basically saying, I don't trust you, Lord, and I don't want to say that. So I'm allowing things to happen, even the bad stuff, because you know what I know? When bad stuff happened to me before, guess what? I came out so much better on the other side. Yeah. Things I think I want to do, if it doesn't happen, guess what? It's probably for the best. I'm trusting you, God. It's for the best. So just trust the process. We all are going to have a process. We all are going to struggle and go through things that are not fun. It's how we take all of those things and package those things up and use that to get us to the next level is what counts.
Well, I like something that you said too. It's not going to be comfortable. Mm-mm. And so I've been hearing a lot about get comfortable with being uncomfortable in Absolutely. This season. And we have no control over anything that's going on right now. And I think that's what I'm coming to the realization of, even more so now than before, that I have no control.
And we never have. And that's the thing. We thought we did, but we've never had control over anything. But
that's true.
We trick ourselves into believing that we are controlling stuff. We ain't controlling nothing.
Well, let's talk to those that are planners, because I think this is really sort of affecting the planners more than, those that are procrastinators. Mm-hmm. I can be that person sometimes. Yeah. So let's talk to the planners, because there was something that I think you really spoke to, which was, I surrendered. Mm-hmm. I surrendered. And just if you could walk us through that, what that looks like, because I think that's hard for some people.
Yeah, it is hard. But I got tired of fighting, Crystal. I just got tired of feeling bad. And so I have to make a decision every day, I was making a decision. I'm going to be in a good mood. I'm going to be happy. I'm going to believe for the best. And when I'm always going to have an abundance mindset, no matter what it looks like. I had to make myself believe that this is going to work out. Everything is working out for me the way it's supposed to, no matter what it looks like. I had to convince myself or tell myself, what I'm seeing right now is really not reality. And that might be a little over the top for some people, but I'm like, I'm not, this is everything is supposed to be working out for me. It is. On a spiritual realm, I know that it's working out. What I'm seeing is not necessarily what is. You've got to get to a point where you're tired of, you ever wake up or you're in a bad mood, but you get tired of being you get sick of yourself. You ever been sick of yourself? I'm like, I'm not going to do this anymore. I'm not going to do this. And it's a conscious effort. It's just like taking a shower every day to be clean. You got to work on your mindset every day. It's not something you can just, have one day. You're like, oh, I'm motivated. This is great. I think it's just going to last. It's not like that. It's not like a college degree that you just have. It's something you have to work on every day to ensure that you are level, you're making the right decisions. And that's why meditation and prayer and just quiet time is so important, to get quiet and listen to that voice that you know is giving you the direction that you need to move to the next path. Because we all have been there when we're doing something we know we ain't supposed to be doing.
Yeah.
Like, that's why I'm big on the clients that I work with. Like, nobody can just come to my website and hire me. We got to have a conversation, because if we're not clicking, if something's not right, because I've been there before, Crystal, it's no fun. I've taken on clients just because I wanted the money and I knew there wasn't a fit. And I would dread seeing their name on my calendar. I dread meeting with them. It was contentious. I didn't enjoy it. And I'm like, I didn't start my business to feel like I was working for the man again, where I got to do what I don't want to do. No. So it's really just, God, believing, and I think we talked about this, but my prayer is always, God, I thank you for, and I'm calling out the clients that I'm looking for, that I want. I thank you for that. I thank him in advance. Thank him in advance. Not, God, will you please? No, God, thank you. I thank you for that, because he's already told us. So if we're saying we believe him, then we ain't got to keep coming and begging and asking. He's already told us. So, and if it's your will, God, and if it doesn't happen, if this is not the right one for me, God, I'm trusting you too. I know you got me. I know you got me covered. So really resting in that fact, like you rest in standing up and sitting in that chair, knowing that chair is going to be there, that type of confidence. We got to have that type of confidence in our relationship with God, right?
So good.
Our relationship with a higher power, because he knows all, sees. I mean, we don't know anything. No. We're but a mist, right? We're nothing. We are nothing. So shedding away that ego, right? Because that ego wants to tell you, girl, you got this. You know what to do. You better,
Just do it.
Or you better get out there. You better post that you're doing this, because look at that. That's ego. Yeah. It's staying in your lane, staying focused on what it is you want to do on your timing. This is not a race. It's not a race. And just knowing and trusting and believing that if you set your intention and put it out there, God's going to line it up for you. He's going to line it up for you. But if you keep pulling it back with doubt and second guessing, he ain't sure what you want to do. Yeah. Right? So you're not ready yet. So it's I think the first step really would be, if you're not already spending some quiet time in prayer and meditation, you got to do that and get still. Because if you're not still to let things kind of settle and kind of see really what's going on, then you really can't move forward with things with a clear head and a clear mind. And that's really important.
Well, one thing that you had me do, and I thought it was going to be very difficult, was to work on some mindset things. And you told me to write 50 reasons why I believe someone should work with me.
Yes.
And it was hard for me to do that at first, because I was so focused on, how do I see myself? I don't know that I know all of this. And so if you could speak to just the importance of working on the mindset. You have been speaking about ego. And sometimes it's just the opposite, like it was the opposite for me. Sometimes we don't know who we are. Mm-hmm. And we don't know our worth. We don't know our value. We don't know how we can help others. So if you could speak to that for those that are struggling there.
So I would argue too that, not argue, but for the point that ego is at play there too. Okay. So ego is really about, you're still kind of thinking, you're shrinking back because of what? Because of fear, because of fear of rejection, because of fear of somebody's going to say, who does she think she is? So that's still your ego. So ego comes into play in everything that we do, right? Mm-hmm. So the reason I have my clients do that is because in almost every case, every person that I work with, every company that I work with, they're never charging enough. They're never charging enough. And what's happening, and this is what happens when you don't charge enough, because I've been there, I've done that. Mm-hmm. You're taking on clients because you feel like you need the money, right? But you're working so much and doing things that you're not enjoying it. You're angry because you're like, I can't believe I'm doing all this stuff and I'm only making You should. That's what happens. It's cyclical, right? And so you're thinking, if I raise my price, I might lose the client, or I may not get the business. So you got to release all of that. Again, going back to if you believe what he says, then you got to know that it doesn't matter if that particular no is a no for you, because you got a yes coming. Mm-hmm. But the reason I have people do the exercise of writing those things down is because invariably, Crystal, every time a client comes back to me and says, you know what? after I wrote all this stuff down, I can't believe that's all that I've been charging. Because you start to see, I do this, I do that, I bring this. I mean, and the amount of value that you bring to your clients and your customers is so far beyond just that actual task.
Yeah.
I want you to be thinking about how am I making their life better? Because you're solving a problem for them. But if they didn't have you to help them with this particular problem, it's not that you just wouldn't be doing X, Y, Z, but how is that going to affect their life as a whole, their business as a whole? And you can't put a price on that. Right. So the value of your time matched with your talent is really priceless. Now you got to stay in the market, right, for the things that you're doing. But I encourage you, if you're out there running a business, thinking about going into business, do the 50 points exercise. You're writing down 50 reasons why anyone would be thrilled to work with you before you start attaching prices to your products or services. And I assure you that you are not going to lowball yourself anymore.
So good. So, and that was going to be one of my next questions. What are some of the common roadblocks that you've noticed during coaching people? Like, what prevents them from pursuing their vision? And so that was one, not seeing themselves or charging the right amount that they're worth. So what are some other things that you've noticed as well?
Definitely. Well, if you're working with a mentor or a coach, kudos to you. But a lot of people I see are trying to do this on their own because they don't want to make the investment. And that's a huge mistake. You want people to invest in your business, right?
Right.
Yeah. So you need to invest in your business. And if you want a shortcut and a way to figure out, you can definitely do it on your own. Can you Google your way to success? Probably. It might take you 15 years, but sure, you can probably do it. But if you're serious about what it is you're trying to do, find a mentor, get a coach, get some help, have someone help you along this journey. Not being clear about who your target audience is, who it is you can truly help. I talk to a lot of entrepreneurs and they say, oh, everybody's my audience. No, everybody's not your audience. But the fear is there, right? Well, I feel like I'm going to leave some money on the table if I leave out. No, you're not. So be okay with being an expert in a particular niche. That's where the dollars are. Not saying you can't serve a broad audience. You absolutely can. But think about what you do best. Who have you created some amazing outcomes for? What did that person look like? Who did you really enjoy working with? Who didn't you like working with at all? Write these things down. What your ideal client looks like, what their values are, what their characteristics are, personality is like. Write down who you don't like working with at all. It's okay if your personalities don't match a particular type of person. And then figure out where those people are and go find them. Making sure your message is on point, right? That if someone asks you what it is that you do, can you communicate that clearly? Does it make sense? Are you positioning yourself as an expert, as a professional? Are you using business cards that say printed free on Vistaprint? Don't do that. Do you have, if you're going to be a business. Don't act like a business, right? Gosh, there's so many things I could say.
Yes. So good.
Just, don't be afraid. Oh, another big thing is, some people not starting because they're like, oh, there's so many people already doing it. Okay, you've got McDonald's, Burger King, Wendy's, Five Guys, all types of places that sell hamburgers, right? It doesn't matter that someone else is doing it. They're not doing it like you. And so building a personal brand as well as building your business brand is huge. And I tell all my clients that, because you want people to follow you, the person, and that's who they're going to connect with. I don't care how many businesses you have. People are going to connect with you, Crystal, because you're Crystal. So there could be 100 million other people doing what you do. Who cares? I want to work with Crystal because of what Crystal brings to the table. And so that's why it's so important once you've understand that, right? And you don't let that stop you saying, you know what, I'm going to start this XYZ business. Yeah, there are 20 of them out there in my market, but guess what? I'm going to find out what might be missing, what I could do differently, what they might need to improve on. And even if they're doing the exact same things, they're perfect, they're not doing anything wrong, they don't have me. So I'm going to bring my own flavor, my own skills, my own personality to it, and I'm going to attract those people that want to connect with me. So don't let that ever stop you regarding there's other people out here doing it. That's great. That means the proof of concept that people want it. Wonderful. I'm glad there are other people doing it. Yeah. So there's a market for it. So you get out there and do it better and do it your way.
So good. Oh my gosh. I'm just, God knew what he was doing. That's all I got to
He
say.
always does.
God knew what he was doing. And I'm just so glad that that was the last point that you made about that whole comparing. That whole comparing yourself and what you do to what other people do. I know that for me, it did get in my way.
Yeah.
It really did. I mean, because I'm like, everybody else is doing this.
Right.
What makes me different? But I think also you helped me to just see that, it's me. It's me. It's what I bring to it. It's my spin that I put on it. No one else can be me.
Nope. No one has your experience.
Crystal is Crystal. Nobody else can.
Your style. That's right.
I love that. And I think as women, that is the work that we need to do, because from the young age of, a kid on up, we get in our own way by comparing ourselves to our sisters,
Yep.
and even our brothers, comparing what they do, how they do it to what we do. And it's just a big downfall for so many. So thank you so much for focusing on that. But
can I add one more thing, Crystal,
yeah.
just really quickly, just around that piece you're talking about regarding competition. That's another thing is I see that don't be afraid to collaborate and work with somebody. Don't feel like, oh, this has got to be mine. I'm going to do it. That's a huge downfall too. There's enough out here for all of us to eat and eat well. And so we have got to support one another. It's not going to take anything from you, but that's that abundance mindset. You got to have an abundance mindset in everything that you do. You can't say, you believe in God. I'm going to give you, God's going to give me this. I'll have an abundance mindset. But then your friend over here asks you for help to do something. You're like, but that's going to take time away from what I'm doing. You got to have an abundance mindset all the way around, because if you don't, it's not like a cut and paste type of thing. It's it's how you approach and interact in the world. And that type of energy you're putting out is going to be reflected back on you everywhere. So I just wanted to add that piece about working together.
I love it. And you know what? I agree. And I love the fact that you and I have been able to collaborate and do this together. So thank you so much for that. But I want you to stand up so people can see your shirt, because I saw your shirt when you came on and I was like, oh, I like that.
Can you see me? Okay.
Yeah.
So this shirt, can you see this? It says, I'm unbothered, boo. So I wore this shirt because I wanted to shout out one of my favorite female entrepreneurs. Her name is Bridget Wilson. Her company is Urban Verbiage, and they have shirts like this. I'm unbothered, boo. Love it. There's so many different other shirts that you can use to support this female-owned business. So it's urbanverbiage.com. Go check her out. Go check her out on Instagram. She has so many great t-shirts that really speak, and she talks about speaking your truth. And so I just wanted to give her a little love today.
I absolutely love that, Bridget. I'll be trying to get me a shirt sometime soon, because I love the unbothered boo.
Yes, unbothered boo. But yeah, Bridget Wilson, Urban Verbiage. Check her out. She's great.
Awesome. Well, this has been amazing. I mean, just in the little bit of time that we've been together, I truly believe that there is so much that you have delivered and given to everyone that is watching, regardless of if they're a woman or if they're a man. And so I so appreciate you for just taking the time out to share your wisdom and your experience with others. So God bless you for that. And I pray that He will bless you for everything that you have poured out today.
Well, thank you so much for the platform. I appreciate it. And I decree and declare over you, honey, that this is just the beginning of so much that is to come for you. So congratulations on launching this, and I wish you continued success.
Thank you. Thank you. All right, folks. So we have made it through the first podcast. I'm just going to clap right now. I'm so excited. So every week, This is what I plan to do. I plan to bring you people that are authentic, the people that really have gone through it and have come out on the other side, and people that are going to empower you, that are going to equip you, that are going to help you to get to that place that you need to get in this season, because it's building time.
Yes.
Time to build. And I want to make sure that I'm doing my part during this whole thing, to get you in position for that. So, like I said, please join us every week on Visions in the Making, where we reveal the story behind the glory. And visit us on the website, um, www.jewelintherough.net, or you can catch me on Instagram at Vision Podcast. I think it's Visions_podcast. So with that said, I hope you have a blessed day. God bless you. Bye-bye.
Bye.